Hi, I'm Gertrude Sahida, and I'm the aquatics director here at the Geneva Lakes Family YMCA. And I'm here to present our presentation to you about safety around water. Safety around water is very important, and so this is why I'm going to talk to you today. Are you ready? Let's start with this poster here. It's starting to get cold out, and we need to think about winter. All the snow that's going to be coming. I know we don't want to yet, but it's important to know the safety around snow. This says, think twice before going near cold water or ice. Okay, you want to make sure that if you're going to go sledding near water, that you make sure that you know the signs and you read what it says. This sign, what does this sign say? No sledding. They shouldn't have been sledding, right? So they need to think about what they're going to do before they do it. This side says sledding hill. This side's okay. So we want to make sure that you're reading the signs so that you know what to do. Good job. Now let's go look at the next poster. Let's think back about summer when we all were having a good time. It was nice and warm and we were swimming on the beaches. Some of you might have had boats. So what we want to talk about is safety on our boats. Don't just pack it. Wear your jacket, right? Let's read that together. Don't just pack it, wear your jacket. That's right. We want to make sure that we're not just bringing the life jackets along, but we're wearing the life jackets. If you're 12 years and younger, which is all of you watching, you need to make sure that you're wearing a life jacket while you're on the water. I brought some life jackets to show you. They're important because you want to make sure that they fit right. And you can tell because inside it tells you what size and weight a person should be to wear this type of jacket. For the littler guys, this is called a PFD. All the life jackets are PFDs. It's personal flotation device. Say it with me. Personal flotation device, right? These are important. So you want to make sure that they're zipped and buckled. And this is for the little guys because it has a strap right here and it helps keep it on. As you get older, you don't need that strap, right? But you need to make sure again that everything is buckled so that you're nice and safe in the water. We even have life jackets for the littlest of guys, right? So we want to make sure everybody's safe. So don't just pack it, wear your jacket. Let's move on to the next one. What does this one say? Read it with me. Too much sun is no fun. Have you ever been sunburned? It's not nice. It hurts. And your parents, I know they want to spray you down and put a bunch of lotion on you, but it's for your protection. You want to make sure that before you go outside, you put your sunscreen on. You also want to make sure that if you're outside hiking, that you're wearing what you're supposed to. Wear sunglasses, wear a hat for shade, wear long sleeves, but breathable material. You don't want to wear big, heavy clothes, right? If you're outside in the sun enjoying the summer in the beach, you want to make sure you have an umbrella or make sure you're playing in the shade and take breaks. We want to drink lots of liquids, either Gatorades or water. Anything like that will help you stay hydrated. All right, let's move on to our next posters. All right, let's talk about this poster. Read it together. Think so you don't sink. These are really important because when you're in the water, you have to think fast. What are you going to do to help save yourself, right? So let's look at some of these and talk about them. This guy has a cramp in his leg. So what is he supposed to do? Well, he does a float. A front float, and we'll be teaching you that in the Safety Around Water program when you come to us in the Y. You learn how to float and then you rub out the muscle, okay? And then you can start swimming again to safety. This girl's too cold. Well, we've all been there, right? Swimming in the cold water, we can't help it. We just want to be in the water. So what I say is get out for 30 minutes, dry off, get warm, and then you can go swimming again. Okay? This girl, she's having some trouble swimming. So what we teach you is to back float. So you float on your back. That way you can breathe, you can call for help, and you can rest. That way you can get other people to come and help you. This is a really good one and very important to learn your back floats. All right, this one is this guy, he's in trouble. He's holding onto this branch. So what should he have on? That's right, he should have his life jacket on. That way he can float to safety, right? Uh-oh. He was floating in his boat and it tipped over. Now this is a small boat. Big boats don't usually tip over, but if you do have a small boat like a kayak or a canoe and it flips over, you want to stay by your boat because you're easier to see with a boat than if you're off swimming in the water trying to get to land. Safety will come and find you, and it's easier to find you with a big object than if you're just floating in the water all by yourself. All right, let's talk about the next poster. This one's a little tricky. Read it with me. Swim with a buddy in a supervised area. Supervised. What does supervised mean? That's right. Supervised means somebody else is watching you. You always want to make sure that you're using the buddy system. Always swim with friends, moms or dads, grandmas or grandpas, aunts or cousins. Make sure somebody knows you're in the water, right? You don't want to be swimming by yourself because if this gets a hole or this runs out of gas, nobody's watching you. So you want to make sure that you're swimming where you're supervised. Now, who's going to supervise you? What does this guy do? That's right. He's a lifeguard. And how do you know who the lifeguards are? Let's talk about some of the things that identify who the lifeguards are. They're wearing red shirts or shirts that say staff, right? They have a whistle so that they can blow. We also have rescue tubes. Rescue tubes are very important to the lifeguards because it helps us save you in the water. It acts as a flotation device for us, but we can also reach it out and give it to people that need help. And then they can grab on and we can tow them in, right? So make sure when you're swimming, you're always swimming in a supervised area with a buddy. Good job. All right, let's talk about the next poster. Look before you leap. Whenever you get to water that you have never been in before, you shouldn't just jump in. You should always make sure that you know how deep it is. And if it's over your head, you should never just jump in because there could be things underneath the water that you can't see. Let's look at the poster and find some dangers. What do you see? I see a can. Did you see the cans? Those can be pretty sharp. We don't want to jump on those. Get your toes stuck in it. That would be silly, right? We have the stump. It's pretty sharp. You ever see a tree break in the wind? Well, there's pretty sharp points on those trees. And let's not forget about the turtles and the snakes. There's all kinds of wildlife that lives in our water too. We want to make sure that they're safe and we're safe. And there could be big bricks or rocks underneath the water that you don't know about. So whenever you go to water that you can't see the bottom, make sure that you look before you leap for your safety. All right, and this is our last poster, but it's very important. Are you ready? Let's read it together. Reach or throw, but don't go. That's right, let's read it one more time. Reach or throw, don't go. Are you guys lifeguards? No, that's silly, right? You haven't been trained. Do you know lifeguards have to train for 30 hours before they can become lifeguards? They have to learn all kinds of rescues and safety things, right? So you want to make sure that unless you're a lifeguard, you never ever go into the water to save a friend. But there are some things you can do. Let's look. She fell out of her boat. So he's gonna stretch his oar out to her and drag her back to the boat to help her back in. He didn't go in the water, but he helped her anyway. Don't go in the water. She's also not wearing a life jacket, which we already talked about. Always wear your life jacket. Don't just pack it, wear your jacket. All right? He's out there a little too far, so she's gonna throw something out to him with a rope and drag him in. That is a good idea, because you don't ever want to go in the water, right? Now he's close enough, but he's a little panicked, so he can't reach the side. So she lays down and reaches out her arm and grabs him and pulls him in. That's okay to do also. She is in the water and they're on the boat, so they're gonna throw the circle out to her and pull her in, just like our friend here in this picture. Right? Throw something out, pull them in. If you have a pool at home, or your grandma or grandpa's or aunts or uncles or cousins or friends have a pool, you know what you can do is empty a milk jug, tie a rope to it, tighten that top, and that is a good safety device to throw out to somebody and pull them in. It's even good to practice. All right? This one's in the water and they don't have any of these tools, right? So what they're gonna do is they're gonna use what they can find. In this instance, it's a stick, or a big stick, to kind of get him over to the side, right? What are some things that you can use? That's right, we can use all of those, and a pool noodle. I have a pool noodle right here, and I'm going to show you how to use the pool noodle in order to help your friends. So I want you to look at my feet, because it's very important how to stand. So you're going to put one foot in front and one foot in back, not toes together, because that will tip you over. One foot in front, one foot in back, kind of like you're surfing. Right? So you have your noodle and you reach it out to your friend and you pull them in. Make sure you have a strong grip on that noodle, because you don't want them to pull it out of your hand, because now they have the noodle, but they don't have any way of getting back to the side. So make sure you plant your feet, hold on tight, and pull your friend in. Good job. So never go in the water to help a friend. Always use what's around you, and make sure that you're calling for help, because you've used the buddy system. Make sure that somebody knows you're in the pool before you get in, or in the water before you get in. So now let's go show you some slides to reinforce what we just talked about safety around water. Let's go! All right, let's talk about our slide presentation. So while I'm talking, you're going to see some slides, and I want you to read along with me, okay? And then we'll talk about the slides. Let's move to the first slide. Geneva Lakes YMCA, safety around water, because we want you to all be safe around the water and use your thinking. Let's go to the next slide. The next slide says, never swim alone. All right, let's read that together. Never swim alone. Always swim with a buddy in a supervised area. That's right. Remember, we talked about it when we looked at the posters. We want to make sure that we're always swimming where somebody can see us, whether it's mom or dad or aunts, uncles, an older cousin, or especially lifeguards. All right, let's go to the next slide. Walk. Don't run on slippery surfaces. No running. You don't want to run on slippery surfaces, because you could fall and hurt yourself, hurt an elbow, or even hit your head. So we want to make sure that we're always being safe. Always walk when you can. I know you get excited about going to the pool, but we want to make sure that we're being safe even before we get in the water. All right. Next slide. All right, let's read this one. No horseplay. Respect others. See our otter friends, it says, attention, no rough playing. We want to make sure that when you're with your friends, you have fun, but you also want to be respectful. Not everybody likes to be splashed in the face. I know it's fun to splash your friends, but make sure that they're playing with you and you're not attacking them in the water. And try never to climb on top of your friends, because even though they might be able to touch in one place, doesn't mean that they'll be able to touch all over the bottom of the pool or the lake, because the lake bottoms and the pool bottoms have different heights, and you want to make sure that you're being safe. So never climb on top of your friends. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now this one we talked about. Let's read it together. Reach or throw, don't go. Remember, that was our last poster, and we talked about how you could reach out with your hand or a board or throw something out to them. Remember, I showed you how to stand with your feet? I want you to all take a minute and stand up, and I want you to put one foot in front and one foot in back, and I want you to pretend like you're surfing. All right, go ahead, stand up right next to where you are. All right, one foot in front, one foot in back, balance your hands, and do a little surfing wave. That's right, we want to make sure, you can sit down, we want to make sure that you're all being safe if you're trying to reach somebody else who's having trouble. And remember, always call for help, because they might need more help than you can give. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, let's read this one. Some of the words are kind of big, so let's read it together. Understand your limitations. Think so you don't sink. Limitations, that's a really big word. What do you think that means? Yeah, so limitations means what you can do. So look at your friends around you. Do you think that they can do everything that you can do exactly the same as you can do it? No. So we want to make sure that whenever we're going in the water, that we know what we can do in that water. Remember, if we're going on a boat, we want to make sure we're wearing our life jackets. If we're going out in the sun, we want to make sure that we stay in the shade, drink plenty of water, and even wear sunglasses or hats and sunscreen. So we want to make sure that no matter where we are or what we're doing, that we know our limitations, what we can and can't physically do. Okay? So maybe you can climb a tree, but I don't think I could climb a tree. Not all the way to the tippy top, right? So we all have different things that we can do and how far we can do it. So we want to make sure that we know how far we can go out into the water, how deep the water is, how well we can swim. Those are all limitations to see how far we can go. So you want to think so you don't sink. Good job. All right, let's go to the next slide. Never dive in shallow water. Look before you leap. No diving in the pool. So in our pool, we have signs around our deck that show kind of a picture like this guy that shows an owie by his neck. Because if you dive, which means your head is going in first, if you dive into water that is too shallow, you could really hurt yourself. So we want to make sure that you're following the rules so that we all stay safe. You always want to make sure that before you jump into water that you don't know, that you always check the bottom, see how deep it is, see if there's any rocks, see if there's any tree branches, see if there's anything underneath. Okay, because with all the winds and all of the streams that have things that can go into the water, we want to make sure that we're being safe and we know what's underneath us. Okay, good job. All right, let's go to the next slide. Ice safety. You know, we need to be super extra safe when we're playing on the water when it's frozen, because it can be super dangerous. We want to make sure that it's thick enough and safe enough for you to walk on it or even drive a car on it. We need to make sure that we're looking for signs. There's always signs posted at the entrances of where a car would go in to let you know if it's safe or not. I know a lot of people like to go ice skating or even ice fishing in the winter. When we do that, we want to make sure that we're super safe, and you check to make sure that you can walk on the ice. You see the bottom of our picture, it says that if you want to be a person standing on the ice has to be 4 inches thick. Maybe you can look on your rulers later and see how deep 4 inches is. So it has to be 4 inches deep in order for you to stand on it or an adult to stand on it. How deep does it need to be if I want to ride my snowmobile on there? That's right, 6 inches deep. We need to make sure that it's at least 6 inches deep. And if we want to drive a car on there, 8 to 12 inches, that's right. And if we have a big truck, we want to make sure that it's 12 to 15 inches deep in order to go drive your car on there. So it is very, very important, especially with ice, that you want to make sure that you're extra careful. Now, if you do have somebody that falls in the water, you want to make sure that you lay down on the ice in order to help them, because all your weight is on your feet. And if you lay down, then all your weight is spread out over your whole body, and then it's not as hard on the ice if it's going to crack. So we want to make sure that it's safe first so that we don't have to do that. But if anybody does fall in, make sure you lay down on the ice to climb out or to get away from the hole and get help. Never enter fast-moving water. That's right. This one's important too. Let's read this. Never enter fast-moving water. If you can see the water moving really fast, then that is not a safe place to go swimming. Even if you have your life jacket on, you could get stuck under a big branch or pulled under a bridge. You want to make sure that you stay away from water that's moving really fast. Okay? Good job. All right, let's go to the next slide. Okay, these are lifeguards. Now, they don't all have the same uniform on, but this was when we were doing one of our trainings. So let's read the sentence on top. It says, always listen to the lifeguard. You know, the lifeguards aren't there to make it unfun for you to swim. We're there to make sure that you're safe. And we have a bunch of people that come to our pools and our lakes and our beaches, and we have to make sure every one of them goes home and is safe in the water. So that's why sometimes we blow our whistles and we yell or we shout rules so that everybody can hear. You know, out in Lake Geneva, we have a rule that you're not supposed to dive off the piers. It's because it's pretty shallow. You can stand over by some of the piers. Maybe you guys can't, but your adults might be able to. And so because of that, it's really shallow and we don't want anybody to get hurt. So you want to make sure that if you hear the whistle, that you look at the lifeguard and make sure that they're not talking to you, and to make sure that you're safe. And having fun, you can still be safe. All right, let's talk about our safety devices. That's right. Let's read that again. These are our safety devices. You've got the ring that we can throw in if somebody needs help. We also have our rescue tubes on the bottom. Those help us reach, and it helps us float to get to you. That hook thing is what we call a shepherd's hook. So we can kind of hook that around you and pull you to the side of the pool. It just gives us an extra tool to help reach somebody who might not be right next to the side of the pool. And of course, we always want to make sure that we have our life jackets or our PFDs. Do you remember what PFD stands for? Personal flotation device. Say it again. personal flotation device. That's right, PFD, personal flotation device. So make sure you have that if you're going to go swimming in an area that you're not familiar with or that you know it's too deep. All right, let's go to the next slide. Now, we've talked about this on one of our posters. A lot of these we've talked about, so this one shouldn't be new. Let's talk about, read this with me. Too much sun is no fun. We have to protect yourselves, right? Nobody likes to get sunburn. I know that you don't always like to put the suntan lotion on, and maybe your mom or dad or aunt or uncle sprays too much on, but it's because we want to protect you from getting burned. We know how much it hurts. Raise your hand if you've ever had a sunburn. Right? It did not feel good. And we want to make sure that we can do everything that we can to save you from being hurt. So, using your suntan lotion, putting on safety gear like sunglasses and being in the shade and drinking water all keeps you safe. All right, let's go to the next slide. Read this with me. Learn to swim. That is one of the most important ways that you can be safe in the water. A lot of the things that we've been talking about have been safety outside of the water too. But if you want to learn how to be safe in the water, you need to learn to be comfortable in the water. And learning how to swim is a great way to do that. Your teachers are going to give out a flyer, and at the end, you'll be able to have some dates that you guys can come for free to the YMCA and learn how to swim. Learning to swim is really important. Raise your hands if you already know how to swim. That's great. I'm so glad so many of you can swim. Make sure that you're always swimming with a buddy and that you never go in the pool to save somebody else. Always go get help unless you're a lifeguard. Good job. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, read this one with me. Don't just pack it, wear your jacket. That's right. If you're 12 years and younger, you must wear the life jacket in a boat. So if you're going on a boat with your family, then you need to wear your life jackets. If you're 12 and younger, you have to have it on. Now, moms and dads don't have to wear them, but they have to have enough on the boat that everybody has one. So if you have 5 people on the boat, how many life jackets do you need? That's right, 5 life jackets. If you have 10 people on your boat, that's a big boat. But if you have 10 people on your boat, how many life jackets do you have to have? That's right, you need to have 10. So you be the safety person and make sure that there is one life jacket for every person on the boat. All right, good job. Let's go to the next slide. All right, read this one with me. Cold water, cold body. That's right. If you're going to go in the water and it's really cold, you don't want to wait until your lips turn blue to get out. Okay, if you start to shiver and you start getting really cold in the water, I know it's fun and you want to stay in, but you need to get out and warm yourself up first for at least 30 minutes so that your body temperature can get nice and warm, and then you can go back in the water. But you want to give your body time to warm up again. If it keeps getting cold and cold and cold, your body is going to work harder and harder and harder to warm itself up, and you're going to have less ability to swim if you need to, because your body's using all of its energy to keep yourself warm. So you want to make sure that if you're in the cold water, to get out, dry off, warm up for a little bit, and then you can go back in and play. All right? Okay, read this one with me. Pay attention to all signs, right? We want to make sure that we're looking at signs. The signs are there to help you. We didn't put the signs up just so you have something to read. We put the signs up so it tells you what we want you to do to stay safe. Sometimes if you're by the ocean, it'll tell you if there's currents or if there's some jellyfish or even if sharks have been sighted. We don't have to worry about those in Lake Geneva or Lake Delavan or some of the lakes around here, even Lake Michigan, but we still should read all the signs. If it's too windy, if there's no lifeguards on duty, right? We want to make sure we know if we can dive, how deep the water is. All those signs are around. So all you have to do is look for them. So the next time you go to the beach or the pools, look for the signs and see if you can read them. All right, good job. Let's go to the next slide. All right, how many of you guys have been in a thunderstorm when you were outside? Yeah, it gets dark and the lightning, it's loud sometimes with the thunder. And the lightning is so bright. We want to make sure that if you're in the water, that I'm going to read this, read it with me. Stay out of the water during thunderstorms. You must wait 30 minutes after the last lightning strike or sound of thunder to enter the water. How many minutes? That's right, we want to wait 30 minutes before we get back into the pool after we've seen the lightning or heard the thunder, because that means that it's moved on and it's not coming and that we're safe to go back in the water. So now you know the rule. So I want you to make sure that you're enforcing it and keeping everybody else safe. Sometimes people don't know these rules, and that's why you're learning them so that you can teach others how to be safer on the water too. All right, let's go to the next slide. All right, we're towards the end, and I just want to re-go over some of the subjects that we talked about, some of the slides. So I want you to read these with me. We'll go one at a time. All right, so let's start with the first one. Never swim alone. Always swim with a buddy. Good job. The next one. Walk on slippery surface like a pool deck. Good. All right, next one. Respect others. No horseplay or roughhousing. Good job. Next one. Reach or throw. Don't go. You guys are doing a great job. Let's read the next one. Understand your limitations. Think so you don't sink. All right, next one. Never dive in shallow water. Look before you leap. All right, let's look at the next one. Never walk on thin ice. Ice safety. Do you remember how many inches it had to be for a person to walk on the ice? Good job. 4 inches. All right, let's read the next one. Never enter fast-moving water. Good job. Let's go to the next slide. All right, I still need your help on reading these. So let's read the top one. Always listen to the lifeguards. All right, let's read the next one. Safety devices. PFD, rescue tube, ring, or hook. Good. All right, the next one. Too much sun is no fun. Protect yourself. Good job. Just a few more. Learn to swim. Practice swimming often. Good job. What's the next one? Don't just pack it. Wear your jacket. PFD. What does it stand for? Personal flotation device. Good job. Just a few more. Warm yourself before going back to cold water. Good job. Let's read the next one. Pay attention to all signs. All right, we have one more. Ready? Wait 30 minutes after lightning strikes or thunder sounds. Good job. All right, and that concludes our presentation. Thanks for following following me on safety around water presentation. I know that the posters and all of the slides are very important, and I'm sure you listened very well, and you can answer all of the questions, right? What's a PFD? Personal flotation device. Good job. All right, so now your teacher is going to give you a flyer to take home. It looks kind of like this. And there's dates right here that your parents need to know about. It's free for you to come to the Y on these dates and try some safety around water in the water. Very good. Thanks and have a great day.